Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam to all Vaishnavas assembled. Thank you all for chanting the holy names very nicely in the Brahma Muhurta. So now let us move on to our next program, which is the sweetest part of the day. There's a little bit of discussions on Srimad Bhagavatam. Today's verse being 26th verse of the 17th chapter of Canto 1. Before that, I would like to thank our leaders for giving all of us an opportunity to discuss Srimad Bhagavatam. And I seek all your blessings and prayers so that I'm able to speak in the line of the parampara. I am doing this for my own purification. Thank you all very much. So before moving on, I'll just begin with a very short kirtan. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayo Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradari Jayo Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravana Chari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jayo Gandharvika Giridhari Gaurahari Gandharvika Giridhari Gaurahari Jayo Jayo Prabhupada Prabhupada Jayo Jayo Gurudev Nitai Gaura Haribol Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 17, Punishment and Reward of Kali, text number 26. Iyam cha bhumir bhagavata nyasitoro bharasati Srimad tatpada nyasaha sarvata krita kautuka. Translation, word-to-word meeting, translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. The burden of the earth was certainly diminished by the personality of Godhead and by the others as well. When He was present as an incarnation, all good was performed because of His auspicious footprints. So we'll go to the next text, since there is no purport here. Text number 27. Sochati ashru kala sadvi durbhage vojhitha sati abhrahmanya nrupavyajaha shudra bhokshyanti mamiti. Translation. Now she, the chaste one, being unfortunately forsaken by the personality of Godhead, laments her future with tears in her eyes, for now she is being ruled and enjoyed by lower class men who pose as rulers. Purport. The Kshatriya, or the man who is qualified to protect the sufferers, is meant to rule the state. Untrained lower class men, or men without ambition to protect the sufferers, cannot be placed on the seat of an administrator. Unfortunately, in the age of Kali, the low class men without training occupy the post of a ruler by strength of popular votes, and instead of protecting the sufferers, such men create a situation quite intolerable for everyone. Such rulers illegally gratify themselves at the cost of all comforts of citizens, and thus the chaste Mother Earth cries to see the pitiable condition of her sons, both men and animals. That is the future of the world in the age of Kali, when irreligiosity prevails most prominently, and in the absence of a suitable king to curb irreligious tendencies, educating the people systematically in the teaching of Srimad Bhagavatam will clear up the hazy atmosphere of corruption, bribery, blackmail, etc. Om Agnanatimarandasya Gnananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Khadamayam Datatri Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Gurum Shri Utapada Kamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagarajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamcha He Krishna, Karuna Sindhu, Deenabandhu, Jagatpate, Gopes, Gopika Kanta, Radha Kanta, Namosite, Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi, Radhe, Vrindavaneshwari, Vrishabhanu Sute Devi, Pranamami, Hari Priye, Vancha Kalpatarabhyascha, Krupa Sindhu Bevacha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo, Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Shrivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. I thank you all very much. So since there is no purport in the text number 26, we'll discuss text number 27 and also a little bit of 26. So, in these two shlokas, Prabhupada is mentioned the purport that how today's iron age, leaders are being chosen only on the basis of votes, and it is not seen whether the person is qualified or not to that post. Also, Prabhupada repeats or emphasizes the word training in the verse number 27, right? The aspect of training. And in the translation of 26th shloka here, Sukadeva Goswami is saying how earth is being burdened. Now, this is like a transition phase where initially the Supreme Lord Krishna was there, and then Lord's intimate devotees, Yudhishthira Maharaj, Parikshit Maharaj were ruling. Now, the transition is Kali. Kali is going to take the post of this era, Kali Yuga, which will start in full force. So, this is a transition phase. So, in the previous shloka, we saw how the bull personified Dharma. He was talking to Parikshit Maharaj and telling him that he does not want to reveal his perpetrators, then who is actually causing the suffering. Then Parikshit Maharaj is consoling Dharma that how the situation of earth, has happened. And the fact that you don't want to reveal your perpetrators itself means you're the Dharma personified. And so what Parikshit Maharaj is saying in Dharma. Then, so in today's verse, we can discuss two topics. One is, what is the burden to Mother Earth, and training aspect, because Prabhupada is emphasizing on that training aspect, which should be as per the teachings of Srimad Bhagavatam, right? So we'll go to the first point, the burden to Mother Earth. So earth feels burdened because of those who are not Krishna conscious, or those who do not abide by the codes of law given by the Lord. It is not that, the amount of mass has increased on the earth and hence is burdened. No, there are nearly 84 lakh species in this world. Out of these, species like humans are actually creating imbalance, and that is why she is feeling burdened. Other species are not actually creating any burden. They are all following the rules of the law. Then, only when we go against the law of Lord, then it creates burden to Mother Earth. For example, whenever any particular system is created, they will have a set of rules to be followed. Similarly, as per scriptures, we should also follow a way of living. If you don't follow the laws, then that will be the burden for the Mother Earth. For all the living entities, right, in this material, there is a principle. What is that called? Jiva jivasya jivanam, right? To make living. So, but if this is imbalanced, then it creates all havoc. It will not affect their own progress. It also affects others' progress also. So if somebody is affecting others' progress, Srila Prabhupada is saying that is himsa. Himsa, that is disturbing the evolution process of that animal. Nowadays, you can see, lot of every other corner, there look and corner, there's slaughterhouses. So unnecessarily disturbing that evolution process of that particular animal. So in the pages of Bhagavad Gita, Srila Prabhupada mentions the meaning of himsa. He's saying that meaning of himsa is to check the progress of a living entity. When some animal is being killed, his progress in that particular rise is being hampered. When he is supposed to take another birth maybe in a higher consciousness of living being, thus the nature cycle to that animal is disturbed. We are disturbing the natural evolution. That is why in those days when yagnas were performed by the brahmanas, they used to offer animals for sacrifice in the fire. But these brahmanas, they're very pure, and the mantras which are chanting also are very pure. Nowadays in Kali Yuga, you cannot find any brahmana, right? So those days when they're offering the animal, they were giving them a better birth. They used to give them better birth. That's why that is not checking of the progress. It was not himsa, right? And also there are examples of many demons like Hiranyakashipu, Ravana, Kamsa. They were all burdened to the earth, demons. Mother Earth is crying. She's saying how they are creating so a burden. Then Krishna has to come personally to, to protect his devotees and annihilate all this kind of demons so that he gives some relief to Mother Earth. Next, Srila Prabhupada is speaking about electing people, right? Here, if a person is elected just because he wants to become leader, then he will be like a Shudra. Why? Because Shudra is the one who wants the post. That's all. Name, fame, all that. But he does not want to act as per the post. Simply he wants adhikar, but he does not want to do any duties or he doesn't want to take any responsibility. So this is like acting like, this is what is the present scenario, right? So every living entity is a duty to be servant of the Lord. Jivera Swarupahai Krishnera Nityadas. So devotees aspire to be servant of Lord. Here we can see how Kulashekara Alvar saying, he says in one of the verses, that is the 25th verse of Mukundamala Stotra, that he wants to become the servant of the servant of the servant. So beautifully, I would like to read out that particular sloka, text number 25 of Mukundamala Stotra. Maj janmanaha phalam idam madhu kaitabare mat prarthaniya mada anugraha esha eva tvad britta parichara brittya itam mam smara lokanatha. So translation is goes like this. O enemy of Madhu and Kaitaba, O Lord of the universe, the perfection of my life and the most cherished mercy you could show me would be for you to consider me the servant of 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 your servant. Just see how many servants has been told here. Yeah. So leaders should lead by one's own example. In Bhagavad Gita, the 3rd chapter, 21st shloka also we see yad acharati shreshtas. So in the shloka, whatever action is performed by great men, common men follow in his footsteps. And whatever standards he sets by his exemplary act, the world pursues. So first of all, the leader should be a Krishna conscious person. Then he can lead the other people also to become Krishna conscious devotees. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also repeatedly taught us how we should become servant and leader's servant. That way, we will not be a burden to Mother Earth. So, the second aspect is Prabhupada is emphasizing on the training aspect. So, we can take, for example, the modern education system, or it may be a sports or any career related. We know we look for the best of the training, right? Yeah? If you want, if you want to enroll a child into some school, we want to see he gets or she or she gets the best teacher, the best training. Even earlier there was only one teacher for all the subjects, but nowadays for each subject we have one for tuition science. Children go for tuitions, and they have for each subject they want tuitions, and they want the best of the teachers, best of the training. So even if you take coaching for any sports, I heard my Prabhu saying that for bowling there is a coach, for batting there is a coach, for fielding there is a coach. So then now what to speak of spiritual subject matters? How much training we should be getting? Yeah. So here Srila Prabhupada is quoting from Srimad Bhagavatam, teachings from first canto, fifth chapter, 48th shloka, which explains the various teachings to Vyasadeva. Narada Muni mentions at the end of fifth chapter that how Srimad Bhagavatam can remove the distress of karmis and jnanis also. So that shloka is Tvam api adabhrasruta विश्रुतं विभुः समाप्यते येन विदां पुभ्युत्सितं प्राक्यति दुःखे मुहुरादितात्मनां संक्लेश निर्वाणं उशन्ति नायता. Translation is, please therefore describe the Almighty Lord's activity which you have learned by a vast knowledge of the Vedas, for that will satisfy the hankering of great learned men and at the same time mitigate the miseries of the masses of common people who are always suffering from material pranks. Indeed, there is no other way to get out of such miseries. So, here it is said we should understand that Srimad Bhagavatam is not only shelter for devotees, but can also do the act of mitigating the sufferings of great learned men and also common mass of people. People in this material world, they are hankering for sense enjoyment. For them also, Srimad Bhagavatam is the solution. It will remove the miseries caused by the three kleshas, as you all know. So, Srila Prabhupada explains that training from Bhagavatam is the solution for everything. Training aspect is required. So, the nature of this material world is to always go down. This material world is governed by the law of gravity. For example, if you take the Mother Ganga and other rivers flowing from Himalayas, they start from top of Himalayas, but they are flowing and flowing down, 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 and finally they join the sea and there they stop. So, the same thing happens with our consciousness also. We should always, should take care we are in the right association. Like Varha Krupamaya Das was explaining about association. He was saying that association includes what we hear and watch in our smartphones, devices too. That will not help us. Only take the association which will elevate our consciousnness and maintain our standards, right? Rather than go down. So if we maintain our standards, then things can remain. Otherwise, there is always a chance for us to go down, which will lead to committing sinful activities, immorality, sense gratification, etc. Politics, etc. But here, when it comes to politics, of course, there are many devotees in politics like Ramananda Raya, Raghunatha Das Goswami. They were also doing duties which are, regarding to collecting taxes. But here, the difference is, if it is motivated towards service attitude, then it can do good to the people. Even King Prataparudra and many other kings were devotees and they are following the code of context, code of conduct of codes and given by the Lord. But if it is motivated by false ego, then it will lead to so much havoc to the people. It is very important for the leader to give that trust to his people that he is leading them in the right path. So, training means discipline. Training means discipline. I would like to quote an example of Prabhupada. So there was a famous conversation between Burijan Prabhu and Srila Prabhupada when Prabhupada visited China. So Prabhupada was asked him how things are going on, how is the morning program going on. Then Burijan Prabhu replied, no, Prabhuji, no, Srila Prabhupada, not many coming for the morning program. Then Prabhupada asked him, how about your morning program? He told. Then asked him, whose disciple are you? So that responsibility of following the instructions of the spiritual master, we actually lead. We should actually lead. When we lead others, we can lead properly. If we follow nicely, then we can lead others nicely. So sometimes we think that, one more point I would like to quote here is, sometimes we think that whatever negatives, anarthas we will have, it will go by itself. We no need to make any special endeavor to train to ourselves to get rid of it. We may think it is 50, 60, 70 years. As we retire, our anarthas also will retire. Sorry, there is no retirement age fixed for anarthas. Anarthas will go because birth after birth, they are chasing us. So we need some training to get rid of anarthas or bad habits. So to begin with, we need enlightenment. Enlightenment in terms of knowledge, light, which is, all of you know, Atato Brahma Jignasa, to begin with. So we can see in Prabhupada example only, saying, Prabhupada says, devotees need training. So what they should do and what they should not do. So he has given, we should chanting 16 rounds, following scriptures and living by scriptures, being in the mood of service to the spiritual master. So we need to get trained for all these things. And while training somebody, and also when we are training somebody, we can become very strict, sometimes soft-hearted. So Srila Prabhupada used to say, become hard like thunderbolt and soft like rose. Or maybe also is also mentioned about soft like a Bengali mother. So if we are too soft, it will be difficult to train somebody. And if you are too hard, the people will not like to be with us. So devotees have to be gentle, kind, respectful, loving. And at the same time, if there is too much necessity, they can also be like some thunderbolt sometimes, but not all the time. Yeah. So we ourselves, let's look back a few years back, see how we were before we were trained by our leaders, His Grace MMD Prabhu and Mataji. Here they have put on lot of efforts to train each of us. Of course, even our sector leaders also have put in hours and hours of efforts. The point is, without training, we just have been, what were we doing earlier without being trained? We used to wake up, whenever, whatever time we wanted to wake up, then eating non-prashadam and whatnot. Now, how wonderful that we have followed the training system created by Srila Prabhupada and nicely followed by their disciples like our Gurudev. We must have the gratitude for our acharyas and all our leaders. Okay, then also example of, we can take the example of Yudhishthira Maharaj and Parikshit Maharaj. They also gave a lot of affection to their citizens, and the citizens were treating them like their own parents. But sometimes they were very strict. If there are some negativities, they were very strict about this. So unless a person is trained, he cannot do anything good. Srila Prabhupada in a lecture spoke about, a lack of Kshatriya training. He gave an example of Vietnam War. Yeah. Actually, in Vietnam War, Americans were just drafted to the war. In the sense, they were dragged forcibly. Those who didn't want to participate in the war also, they were forcibly taken. And they were taken without giving any training. So people who didn't want to participate in this war, they wanted somehow escape. So there was one person who used to sleep for 5-6 days. Yeah? He didn't sleep for 5-6 days. Then he was taking some injections to pollute his blood, so that when they come for fitness test, he want to fail, so that he will not be taken for the war. But the person who was taking the test, he said, don't worry, most of them are doing all these kind of things. So you will pass, don't worry. So in this way, without training, they were ending up in, taking part in the war. And ultimately what happened? They were taking drugs. And finally, when all these people returned back to America, they all became drug addicts. And also actually the government of America, they also had many programs for de-addiction programs, but nothing worked. But now we can see, actually, Srila Prabhupada says, a Kshatriya can actually do a job of 1,000 Shudras because he's trained for fighting. But in this case, they were not trained, and hence they forcibly done all this, and they become drug addicts. But the same people, what did Prabhupada do to them? So these people, what happened? Because they didn't have proper training, they could not do any good, neither at war nor even after coming back from war. Yeah. The same people, untrained drug addicts, were taken by our Srila Prabhupada and trained well in Krishna consciousness. Though Srila Prabhupada was little liberal in the beginning. So these people became so addict because they were untrained and went to war. But same people, Prabhupada did a miracle to them. Miracle. Because Prabhupada trained them so well in Krishna consciousness. They became wonderful devotees. Then, because of Prabhupada giving them direction, engaged them nicely in Krishna consciousness, and the same people who are burdened to America, right, took up Krishna consciousness to the entire life. So, so Mother Earth was saying, these people are burdened. The leaders who are not following any rules and regulation, and also not training people as per the desire of the Lord, they are burdening to me. Mother Earth is saying. Similarly, people were thinking that these hippies are burden. And the same people took charge of a parampara, and they traveled worldwide, spreading Krishna consciousness and changed the direction of human society. So the biggest miracle Srila Prabhupada did was change the hippies to happy devotees. So devotee means, SP says, should be trained to become Brahminical and a humble servant. Trinadapi sunichena tarorapi sahisnuna manena manadena kirtaneya sadahari. So Prabhupada used to give the principle very straightforward, and he used to set standards. At the same time, he gave people chance to also grow. So whenever I'll take 2 more minutes. So whenever a person is given responsibility, along with that, he should ensure that he should be trained well by the authority, by which he can do things with proper consciousness. Be it, for example, very simple examples like how we do prasadam serving, book distribution, assisting in the cooking, so that if you are given nice training how to do this, our leaders are already doing it for us. So if you do all this, then we can do it with proper consciousness. And also the seva, what we are doing, it will not be a burden for us. We can perform it very joyfully, right? We'll not feel it a burden. So with all this training, we become pure. In this Sunday Bhagavatam class, we learned that Prabhu was saying that Rathayatra Prabhu, His Grace Rathayatra Prabhu was saying that how that purity is not only force, but purity, if you maintain your purity, it will lead to confidence too. So beautiful point you are saying, Prabhu. So we shall just end with one more short pastime of Srila Prabhupada. So once Prabhupada was in Germany with devotees, and the devotees were in the car. And the road was very clean. There was nobody around. And what the devotees did, they just crossed the yellow line, which was not supposed to be crossed as per the rules of that land. Then Prabhupada asked the devotees, why did you not follow the rules and laws given by that country? It is not right to do that. So in this way, it is very important for us to follow the rules and regulations. So to conclude, leaders should follow the laws, and thereby they can lead others. Even in our own Vaishnava community also, if someone follows the rules, laws properly, then he automatically becomes a leader. But if he doesn't follow the laws, then that will become a burden to the earth. Mother Bhumi is lamenting what kind of people have become leaders now? Therefore, we all have to learn, lead a responsible Krishna conscious life and help others also lead a blissful Krishna conscious life, thereby reducing the burden of Mother Earth. Last but not the least, every morning we have heard from senior Vaishnavas saying that we must offer prayers to Bhumi Devi every morning before stepping on her. That we have to chant Samudravasane Devi Parvatasthana Mandale Vishnupatni Namastubhyam Padasvarsham Skarashvame. So you should say the prayers before we step on Bhuma Devi, asking her forgiveness for stepping on her, which is her holy body, who is a wife of Lord Vishnu. So please forgive me for stepping on you, Mother Earth. You should, with that prayers, we should first in the morning step on her. So with this, I would stop here. Thank you all very much. Srila Prabhupada, Gantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Patita Pavana Gurudev ki jai, Ithai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol, Hare Krishna.